Hello everyone. Let's see how to store the values which are provided by the user in SQLite database. So that to accept the values from user, I will simply drag and drop two plain text. This is one plain text. To fix its align horizontally and vertically, I will simply click on align, then click on horizontally, click on align, click on vertically. Now the position of this UI widget has been fixed on your Android device. Likewise, I will drag and drop another plain text into my XML file. Again, I will fix its position in terms of horizontal and vertical manner. Then I will click on buttons. Here you will find button UI widgets. I will simply drag and drop this UI widget into my XML file. And again, the most important task to fix its position, I will click on align. And in this way, I will fix its position horizontally as well as vertically. Now I will set the attributes for the respective UI widgets. So I will first click on first text view. Then here you will see the different attributes regarding this plain text view. I will change its ID first from here. I will simply mention, since the purpose of this plain text is to accept the value from user, so I will mention its ID name as txt, and I am going to accept the value for the roll number, so I will mention over here roll number. Then next I will select text attribute. Here by default name has been given. I will simply remove this string. Then I will select text size attribute. I will simply increase text size and I will set it as a 30 sp. Then I will select hint attribute. I will simply assign one message over here, that is enter roll number. So you can see one transparent message has appeared over here, enter roll number, and when I will run this application, user will understand that in this text field they are supposed to enter their roll number. Likewise, similar operations I will perform on next plain text view. Initially I will change its ID. I will set it as txt name. Then in its hint attribute I will set one message. Enter name, and I will increase its text size. For that purpose I will select text size attribute and increase its size from 80 sp to 30 sp. Now this plain text I will use to accept the roll number from user, and this plain text I will use to accept their respective name. Then I will select button attribute. Again I will change its ID into BTN Submit. Then select its background attribute to change color. Here you can see text attribute. I will display the submit message over here. You may change text color by selecting text color attribute. So I have selected this text color. I will increase its height and width using design mode. Now here in Java folder you can find one package com.example.demo add item, that is your project name. So here I will create one class. I will simply right click on this package, then go to the new and select Java class. Here you will find the different options that what do you want to create, either class, interface, enum, or simply you want to give the annotations. I will select class. Then here you may mention the class name. Here I have given student info as a class name. So in this package student info class has been created. Then here I will declare two variables that I will store in SQLite database. One is roll number and one is student name. Now I will simply create getter and setter methods for these two variables. To do that, I will simply right click, then you need to select generate. Here you can find the option getter and setter. Just click on that option. By default, roll number variable has been selected. Since I have to create getter and setter methods for all these variables, so I will simply select both these variable, then click on OK. Here you can find the getter and setter methods for these two variable has been generated. This set method is for roll number, and this get method will return roll number. Then this set method is for student name, and this get stname method will return student name. So this is my student info.java class. Then in this package I will create another class for database handling purpose. Again I will select new Java class. I will mention the class name as a database handler. So this is database handler class, and I will use this class to store the values of users into the SQLite database. Since in Android by default SQLite database is available for the storing, manipulating and retrieval purpose, I will simply inherit the class in database handler. So to inherit SQLite helper class, I will simply use the keyword extends. Then I will inherit SQLite class, that is SQLite open helper. Click here, then click on implement methods. This is on create method and on upgrade method. All these method of SQLite open helper class we are supposed to override. Then click on OK. Here you need to create the constructor. So I will click on create constructor matching super. So this is constructor for this class database handler, and with the help of super keyword I will inherit SQLite open helper class constructor into this database handler constructor. Then this is on create method, and this is on upgrade method of the SQLite open helper class. Initially I will declare some properties over here, that is database version name, database name, table name and the column name. So this is database version, and I have assigned one value to this variable. It is of integer type, and I have specified here public access specifier to it. and I have made it as a static and final so that no one can change its value. Next we release DB name. Here I will mention database name in the string format, and I will store this name into this DB name variable, which is of string data type. Now here I will give my table name. For that purpose I have declared here variable as a TB name. So my table name is student, which will be assigned into TB name variable having string data type. Then later on I will declare two column names. One is roll number and another column name is student name. So in this way, two columns, one is RNO, which is used to store roll number, and other one is student underscore name, which is used to store student name, has been created. Now here I am supposed to pass four parameters. One is by default context. Here I am supposed to pass database name as a parameter. So here I have stored my database name as a demo in DB name variable. I will simply here mention DB name. Then third parameter is factory. Fourth parameter, here I am supposed to mention my database version name. So this is my database version name, and I have assigned this value into the variable name DB version. So I will simply mention here DB version variable. So this is database handler constructor, and in this constructor here parent class constructor has been called with the help of super keyword. And what is the parent class right now for database handler class? That is SQLite Pohanerkar class. So in constructor there are 4 parameters has been passed. One is context, second one is database name, third parameter must be null, and fourth parameter is database version. Now in the onCreate method of SQLite Open Helper class, I will simply write query to create table. I will declare first string variable and I will assign the respective query into that variable. So here I have declared create table as a string variable and I will assign SQL query which is used to create table into this create table variable. So the SQL query is create table, then I am supposed to mention table name. Here I have declared tb name as a variable to store my table name. This is student is my table name, so create table. And my table name, that is student, that I have stored in a variable tb name, I will call here. So this operation is concatenation operation which is used to concatenate two strings, that is create table and that is table name student. Now next query, I am supposed to open parenthesis and here I need to mention column name along with appropriate data type. So first column name is RNO and that's stored in a variable name roll number. So again here I will perform concatenation operation. So create table, table name is student, open parenthesis, first column is, this is RNO, that is stored in roll number variable. Then I will assign data type to this column, that is integer. Here I will give comma and then I will write next column name, that is student underscore name, and it is stored in stname variable. So again here I will mention that variable name, that is stname. And now I will declare its data type, that is text. So this is my last column in student table, so I will not mention further comma over here. I will simply close this SQL query using close parenthesis. So this is my SQL query to create table in database. Now here DB object of SQLite database has been passed as an argument in this onCreate method. So I will simply make use of this object DB, and with the help of this object I will call exe SQL, that is stands for execute structured query language method, and in this method I am supposed to pass query string that I have stored in a create table variable to create a table in SQLite database. So I will simply pass here variable name create table. Now in this onUpgrade method I will make sure that if the table is already created in database, then no need to create another table for the same name, since I will run this application multiple times, and after each run this onCreate method will definitely going to execute, and it must not be happen that every time this table get create into the database. So to avoid this I will write one query in onUpgrade method. To do that, again I will make the use of this DB object of SQLite database. So with the help of this object I will simply call exasql, that is execute structured query language method, and here I will assign one query string, that is drop table if exists, and the table name is student. Here student is my table name, so I will simply write here table name as student. So this query drop table if exists student will make sure that not each and every time when this application will run, this student table will not created multiple times. Then I will call here onCreate method. This method I will call on this onUpgrade method, and I will here pass the parameter db as an object. So this db object I will assign as an argument in this onCreate method. Now to store the values that is given by the user in SQLite database, here I will create one method add data, and I will assign one object as a parameter to this add data method. Since I have created student info class, and here two variables roll number and student name along with their getter and setter methods are defined and declared over here. So here I will pass the object as a parameter of student info class. Now I will create the object of SQLite database. And I will call getWriteAbleDatabase method. Here I will create the object of content values class. So this is values is the object of content values class, and with the help of this object I will call put method of the content class, and where I am supposed to pass two parameter, that is string key and string value. So first parameter is string key. What is string key? It is simply my first column name, and my column name RNO I have assigned to the variable name roll number. So here I will assign string key as a roll number, and in the next parameter I am supposed to pass string value, and where I will get the roll number of the student. Here in student info class, get roll number method has been declared. So with the obj as object of this student info class, I will call that parameter. I will call this method get roll number. So in the roll number column, whatever the roll number entered by the user will get stored. Likewise, again with the help of values object, I will call the put method, and in this time I will assign string key and string value for the student name parameter. So stname is the column to store student name. Here I will assign here stname as a key value, and I will call get stname method of student info class. So this put method would help me to store student roll number and student name in student table. Then using this SDB reference of SQLite database class, I will call insert method, and I will pass here three parameter. That is, first parameter is simply my table name, that is student, that I have assigned in table tb name variable. Next parameter is null parameter, and last parameter is values, that is object of content value class. And after inserting respective values in the student table, I will simply close my database. For this purpose, I will simply call close method. Now I will switch into the main activity.java class. In activity main.xml file, I have drag and drop 3 UI widgets. that is first two widgets are plain text and second UI widget is button. So simply I will create a reference of these UI widgets. So class name is edit text and first reference to store roll number, that is txt rolno, and to store student name next reference is txt st name. Then I will create the reference for button class, that is BTN Submit. Here in the onCreate activity, I will call the reference as a txt roll number and I will assign its ID that is txt roll number that I have set in activity main.xml file. So to retrieve the ID of that UI widget, I will call the find view by method, and all the IDs are present in R folder, that is R dot ID dot txt roll number is the ID. Again, this ID is in integer format in R folder, and that I'm going to assign to the txt roll number. This is a reference of edit text class. So here I will have to apply typecasting methodology, and to do that I will simply mention here edit text as a class name, and similar operation I will perform on next reference of edit text class, that is txt st name. So this similar operation I have also performed on BTN Submit reference of button class, and this is BTN Submit ID that I had set in activity main.xml file for this submit button. This is a BTN Submit ID. So now I will call OnClickListener interface of this BTN Submit class, since whenever the user enter their roll number and name, when I click on submit, the respective data are supposed to get stored in SQLite database after clicking the submit button. So using BTN Submit reference of button class, I will simply call set OnClickListener method, and thereafter I will call OnClickListener interface, and thereafter I will use this abstract method onClick of this OnClickListener interface. Here I will declare one integer variable as a RNO, and in this variable I will assign the value that is entered by the user in UI widget. So how can I retrieve the value that is entered by the user in this UI widget? So what is the ID of this UI widget is txt roll number, and I have assigned this ID to the txt roll number reference of the edit text class, this edit text class. So I will make use of this reference to get the value. Whatever the value entered by the user, initially it is in the string format. So again I need to apply typecasting methodology, that is I am supposed to convert that string into the integer format, and then I will able to store that value in this RNO variable having integer data type. So to convert string into the integer format, I will use the class that is integer, and it is present in java.lang package. Then I will call its static method parseInt, and here I will use the reference txt roll number, and with the help of this reference I will call getText method. So this method help me to get the data entered by the user in plain text, which is in a string format. So this string data with the help of parseInt method will get converted into the integer, and that data will store in RNO variable of integer data type. Again I will retrieve the value that will be entered by the user in second plain text, that is as a student name. So again here I will declare the name variable having string data type. I will call here txt stname reference of the edit text class. Then again I will call getText method and toString method. Now here, before onClickListener method, I will simply create the object of the database handler class. I will assign final keyword of that object. So this is final HDB object of database handler class. I have assigned final keyword to this object so that I can use this object in anywhere, even though in onClickListener and this onClick abstract method. And I will pass this as a keyword to the constructor of this database handler class. Now I will create the object of student info class. And with the help of OB as the object of student info class, I will call the method set roll number. and this RNO as a variable I will pass as a parameter to this method. Then again, using this object of studentInfo class, I will call the method set stName, and in this method I will pass this name as a parameter. So using OB object of studentInfo class, where is the studentInfo class? Here initially I have created this studentInfo class, then declare this variable, and later on I had created here getter setter methods. So with the help of this object, this set roll number method I have called in mainActivity.java and pass RNO variable, so that I will able to store roll number that is entered by the student in the student table. And likewise I have called this stName method, this set stName method of this studentInfo class, and I have assigned name variable as an argument to this method, so that I will be able to store student name that is entered by the user in student table. And finally, using this HDB object of database handler class, I will call the add data method that is we had created in database handler class, this add data method, and which argument I am supposed to pass to this method, that is object of studentInfo class. So here I have created OB as an object of studentInfo class. I will simply pass here OB. And finally, once the data is get stored into the database, I will simply notify it by displaying the message that data added. And to do that, I will make use the toast class. Here I will call the makeTest method of toast class. Here I am supposed to pass three parameter, that is first is get application context, second parameter is the message that I want to display, so that is data added, and third parameter the duration of this message. So to set the duration, again I will call here toast class, and I will use length long function. So this length long is the variable, it set the duration of this message, and again I will call show method. Now I will run this application to check whether the data entered by the student is properly stored into the SQLite database or not. So this is my application. Here I am supposed to enter roll number, so I will enter 13 as a roll number. Then here I will enter XYZ as a student name, and I will click on submit button. So here I got the message data added. So to see whether the data is stored in SQLite database or not, I will open the SQLite database browser. So this is SQLite Database browser. In the right side of the Android Studio IDE, you will find here Device Explorer, Device File Explorer. Since I am using the latest version of Android Studio IDE, that is 4.0, you can click on this Device Explorer. Then here you will find the data folder. You can explore this data folder. Again, in this data folder there is another data folder. Again, you can explore this data folder. Then you need to find your project in this data folder. Here my project name is demo add atom. So I will find that project name. So this is my project name, demo add item. Again, I will explore it. Here again you will find the databases folder. Again you need to explore the databases, and finally you will get the file of your database, that is demo, that I have initially declared. So I will simply download this file. To do that, I will right click, then I will select save as option. You can, by click on OK, you will simply save your demo file, or if you want to store this file on your desired location, so you need to click on this recent file option. You can define here own path. I will simply store this value in my desktop. I will click on OK. You will find the message here, successfully downloaded one file for a total size. So now I need to open that file. So first of all, I will open database browser for SQLite. Then I will click on browse data. This is browse data. Here, then I will click on the open database. Here you will have to select the path that you had set earlier while downloading this file. So I will go on to my path that I had selected. So I will click on this PC, then click on Windows C drive, then I will click on user folder. I will click on this folder, and I had selected desktop folder to store my database file, so I will click on desktop. So initially you will not find any kind of file over here. For that purpose, you need to simply select all files. So here I got the demo database file. I will simply select this file and click on open. So this file is opened in database structure. Now I will click on browse data to see the details. Here you can find roll number 30 and student name as XYZ is stored in this student table. Likewise I can store another data as well. I will simply close this browser. So before run this project again, you need to make sure that you had written a correct query. That is, to create the table, the right query is create table, then you need to mention table name. Here I have used the variable tb name where I have stored student as a string, that is my table name, to this variable. Then open parenthesis, then you need to first mention column name, that is RNO column name, and I have used roll number string variable to store this column name. Then you must give space over here, and you need to mention the data type of that column name, whether it is an integer and text. Since I wanted to store initially roll number as an integer value, that's why I had given over here integer data type. Then again later on my second column name, that is stored in stname variable, that is student underscore name. And for this column here you need to give some white space, and data type for this column is text to store a string value. Again I will run this application to see my another data is get stored in this student table or not. I will write here roll number as a 14 and student name as a PQR. I will again click submit button. Again data added is a message shown. So let's see whether this data is added in student table or not. So again I will click on device explorer. Again I will download this demo file. I will click on save as. I will set desktop path. To do that I will simply click on this desktop directory icon, then I will click on OK. Here the message shows that demo is already exist since I had already downloaded it. Do you want to replace it? I will simply click on yes, because the next data is also will get added into that file. So again here you can see that file is downloaded successfully. So to view the records, again I will open my SQLite browser, then I will simply click on open database. Again I will select the path that I had set during downloading database file. So the folder name is desktop where I had stored my file. Again I will select here all files. This is my demo file. I will simply open it and I will click on browse data. So again you can see that the next data, roll number 14 and student name PQR, is stored in student table. So this is all regarding with SQLite database, which is pre-default available in Android Studio. Thank you so much for watching this video.